ready. Can I get rid of that? I don't want to. I don't want to. Can I? Okay. All right. I don't know why this is here. Let's hope this doesn't screw everything up. All right. Are we up and running? Let me know. Let me see, actually. Are we up and running? Okay. YouTube up and running. Twitch up and running. And it seems like we're up and running on Restream. So, wait. Okie dokie. So, let's see. We have a little request for a minor change here. I think it's not the same he sent earlier. If hotkey2 was not done, okay. That's just a small thing to enable certain. All right, here we go. So this is going to be a super tiny update. I'm going to take Mark's word for it. It's got to be a minor bump though, right? So that should be the last version bump before the next release. Well, I say that now, but you know how these things go. All right, I think I can close that. To hotkey handling. All right, super small. Let's push this to beta. All right, so we have another round of small updates and checks. Let's see. Is the chat running? Somebody say something in chat. Well, okay, that chat message went through. That okay, it went through on Twitter, so I'm gonna trust it for now. So we got to do a few small things. Oh yeah, somebody posted something about the dialogues. Let's see, that's been bugging me for a while. So if I go here and refresh this, that's not a centered dialogue, but this would be a centered dialogue. No. Which of these? I thought these were centered dialogues. One of these dialogues was centered. There's some weird size, or maybe it was only because let me get a fresh puzzle. Did this dialogue used to be this? Was this centered before? It's not gonna work. Wait a second, why is this not? Okay, alright, it's just so slow from here. Let's have a quick look on the non-beta version. I looked into it, and it seems to be literally a connectivity issue between me here and the Amazon server in North Virginia. Hey Trevor, how are you doing? Hey Mark. And it's so much faster to the Google servers. My mic is my way today. Okay, come on. I'm starting to wonder if this was either only a problem with large rule texts. So let's bring up a which puzzle? Oh yeah, the one with the worms of something. I just need a puzzle with a long description text. I'm wondering if the Kickstarter content in the dialogue was the main reason for the overflow issues. But if it's just generally a a problem of scale of how much text there is. Ah, here we go. All right, so this is something I'd like to fix. I'd like to improve it much more than this in the future, but because we are so close to release, I'm only going to do very low risk updates. And I think this one is justified. So, I'm thinking this should be fundamentally done inside framework. Oh yeah, and the other thing was that it does resize to some extent. There's some things it doesn't resize. I think when the orientation changes, yeah. Yeah, I think. Like it does some resizing, but it doesn't recenter it when the board moves. Okay. All right, so let's have a look at this one first. And it only happens here. So I think there is a difference in the media query stuff. And I think I can see the media queries here. Yeah, we saw it here, right? So this one is okay. Style 242. So let's have a quick look at that. Maybe it's literally just some CSS updates. Hey Trevor, probably the best places on Discord in the Webpack, web app feedback channel, or via email to sven@sudokupad.com or at sven@svencodes.com. Or even a private message, but I prefer it to be in the Discord channel because, or you can go directly to my Git repo. It's this place. Sort of web issues. The public places are preferred because in the public spaces other people can see it, and then either you'll know if something's already been handled, or maybe there's already a workaround for it. So, the community can help reduce the load on me a little bit. All right, so let's have a look at line 242. That doesn't look right. No, 178. So 178. Am I looking at the right file here? 178. No. This. 178. Oh, here we go. That's not 178. Oh, because I'm on app. Okay. I think this is replicable on localhost, I hope. It is not? Ah, because it's filled in. Whoops. Beware spoilers. This one, okay, so it changes it to being not centered. Let me just center it quickly so we can replicate the issue. Centered over the board, that is. This one is triggered from the timer. I also should, all the UI should really happen inside app, not inside the timer. But that's something I need to reorganize the flow around how the timers are triggered and stuff. It should really listen to timer events, I guess, because the dialogues never actually prevent certain actions. Yeah, I think I could do them in response to events triggered from inside. Okay, I'm not gonna do that today. Center overboard is true. Why is that not being respected? Center overboard for the show pause. Wait a second. So on start, show pause dialogue, show dialogue parts, center overboard. What's going on here? So this is definitely being triggered. At least it looks like it. I need to update. That's why it's struggling with the loading of the puzzle. This should bring it into the local Wait a second. 1 second. I'm just gonna double check this. Why is this not in the local cache? Because I'm pretty sure this ID is straight from the video. So if we go videos, right, we'll go to this video. Is this like some sort of non-standard format? GP8, okay. Now, make sure that's not playing. All right, let's get this aside for a sec. This should be in here. So I search it by date modified, right? It should be right. GP8. Okay. I'm wondering, because I've made some changes to this script recently. Okay, I'm kind of bouncing all over the place, but I actually would like that to be working. So let's have a look. So I have a set of scripts that basically pull the latest puzzles from Crack the Cryptic videos, because I don't actually have access to the database. So I should, like, once I move to the new server, I can just listen into what people actually click on and kind of cache it on request, which will be much better. But let's have a look. So update puzzles. So this is the script that I kind of run semi-regularly. It's not required, but it improves performance, obviously having a local cache. And right now, this will not have the YouTube links. Yeah. So I hope I did not break this, because I added a feature to be able to actually request videos by video IDs, because I was looking through the spreadsheet, Backpower spreadsheet, which had only video IDs. So I was trying to pull all those videos to get puzzles out of them, right? To grab any puzzles that I haven't had yet. In fact, I don't even know if it added any puzzles. This was a while ago. Might have been these. I don't recall. I don't think it added a lot of them. It might have been these, like 1, 2, 3. I'm not even sure. Let's just double check here. Update puzzle fetch scripts. So this was, I think this was the changes I've made. Okay, so it was the, no, I added a bunch. Okay. Or updated. I think mostly just updated them by adding like video links to puzzles that I already had, because Sam gave me the database a while ago. So I probably had most of those puzzles already. I just didn't have the video backlinks to them yet. All right, anyways, let's see why this is. So fetching video puzzles, video IDs length is greater than 0. Fetching video. Why is, if video IDs.length is greater or equal, why is it greater or equal to 0? When did that happen? That doesn't look right. 1 second, why is this running? 1 sec. That doesn't look right. Let me just double check when that was supposed to get changed. So it wasn't in this update. Oh no, okay. I think that's the mistake. I think that's the mistake. I had a greater or equals in there for the 0 length check on the array. And there they are, okay. So I've been running this update for nothing lately. All right, we don't want to add this one. And we do want to add this one. All right, so that should now add them to the local cache, and that should mean refreshing this page isn't so painfully slow. Excellent, okay. One thing at a time. So other thing was center of a board doesn't appear to be working correctly. So it's calling dialog, show center dialog over board, but it's very clearly not centering the dialog of the board. So what's going on here? Or is it because of the responsive layout? I think the center of a board stuff has some kind of interaction. Because it adds this margin, right? Now if I change this, it's centered. But if I refresh it, it's not centered. Okay. That's good to know. So here it's now not centered. And the center of a board, what exactly does it do? It does... Board width is less... Okay, because the board width... Excuse me. All right, so I'm thinking, is there an easy way... okay, let's forget about that for a second. Is there an easy way to use CSS to basically say, okay, the left edge can never be further left than the left edge of the screen, right? And off the top of my head, can I? Why is there a class? Here we go. Off the top of my head, can I do this to get some space here? Yeah. So off the top of my head, if I position this dialog thing, it should already be positioned absolute, I imagine. So we have a margin left. Okay, so the problem is the left and the right here are positioned 50%. Left 50%, top 50%, position absolute, and then negative translate. So this was the sort of trick to center it. And then it's adding the margin for the position of the board. Oh my god, it's a bit of a mess. Let's think. If I want to calculate, so CSS calc, does it have a min function? Okay, so if I say something like, the problem is I wish I could use a calc and use inherit to represent kind of like a variable the existing value. So I could say, okay, take whatever current value is, and then take the minimum between that and 0, or the maximum, or whatever. But if we say left is calc max 0, 50%, would that work? No. Is it not inside calc? No. Okay, how does CSS max work? So in theory, left 50%, 0%. So it has the same units, is that it? No. 0 pixels, okay. I mean, same thing. The thing is, the transform messes with that, right? And I don't really want to use JavaScript, so maybe using the transform to center it is also not the best method here. Let me think. Can we use calc on the translate? Like, the other thing I'm wondering is, could we use something to create the center positioning and then have another object that kind of aligns with that inside the dialog, kind of do one level of nesting, basically? Because this is position absolute, right? Then its left position is set to 50%. Can I edit this? 50%, and then it's transformed. Yeah, so it brings the upper left corner to the center. I mean, minus... Let me think. Minus the margin setup here. So this is... So it offsets the center to be honest, instead of doing all of this mess, I could just hard position it and then use a event handler on resize to reposition it. and then just do the whole thing in JavaScript. Unless you guys, like, it would ideally, it would be better to have a pure CSS function, but it's already partial, you know. In fact, this should really change to just applying some sort of class. The problem is, in CSS, how to align this relative to this object when they're not nested relative to each other is basically... unless I have a CSS variable for the board center. That is one option, I guess. So I could set up a CSS variable that just contains the board position, and that is updated, and then everything else is done according to that. Let me think. Okay, let's ignore the center of a board thing for a second here. We have these things here. There's probably a better way of centering it using flex, etc., right? So, oh god. Wait, let me refresh that. Something is super slow right now. My computer is kind of struggling. I think I probably have too many Chrome windows open or something. I don't know. Actually, it's not super busy, but like something is super sluggish. Anyway, because I'm thinking we are inside the dialog overlay, so we could potentially do some kind of positioning relative to that with flex, right? Using that as a flex container. So if we don't position this absolutely and get rid of all of this stuff. Did I not just... Do you guys see this? I feel like it's like there's a delay and then it just changes, toggles things again. All right. Max width, max height. Oh my god, I'm clicking and it takes forever for the click to register. I don't know why. I have too many browser windows open, I tell you. Let me close this one maybe. Struggling. All right, I need a new computer, that's really it. Get rid of these. So, minimum width 80. Like, the question I have is, what is determining the width of this box right now? So we have minimum width 24, that's overridden by this one. So it's basically just this, right? Okay. We get rid of the transform and we get rid of the top and left. The thing is now, it's no longer centered. Now it's taking up the maximum width. Oh, that is weird. So if I give it a top position here, okay, if I give it a left position, I'm guessing it's the same width, except it's not. If I give it left 0, 1%. And if I give it a transform, translate 1%, 1. I don't understand what is changing the width of the box here. So in theory, if this goes to 50, and then this goes to -50, whoop, now the box is smaller. What the hell? If this goes to 4, nope. Why is it doing weird things? I'm typing a 4 here and it jumps to another thing. Okay, now the size has changed. And now if I bring it back to the middle, why does the size suddenly change? All right. I was hoping to rely on CSS for the sort of automatic, more or less correct stuff, but I don't understand. Okay, so I'm pushing it over to the right, which I'm guessing means All right, if you ignore the transform, right, it basically pushes the left edge over and then makes the box narrower, but we have a minimum width. Okay, so this forces it to the minimum width. Okay, so that's what's happening. So if we turn the minimum width into an actual width, except we want it to get wider if it needs it to. Except no, because we're... So the idea of using minimum width here was if there's some sort of something that doesn't fit, it would make it larger. Except it's not doing that now because it thinks it doesn't fit on the screen anyways. All right, so that all of the CSS is absolute garbage. The question is, I don't want to rewrite it now though. So the question becomes, how do I fix it now in a unintrusive way without creating even more tech debt? I will create more tech debt. Okay, that's the wrong word. Without creating unsurmountable additional tech debt, right? Because one of the things we probably need is we need a resize handler here. And I'm wondering if we should just have one for the framework full stop at all times. So when the framework gets initialized, right? And the framework here is never instantiated, is it? It's never being instantiated, right? This is a pure static class. So this function is never executed because we're not instantiating this ever, which is also stupid. Yeah, so we can't put anything in here. So there's no framework initializer here. Disable handle context menu, disable context menu. This needs to happen sometime. Am I searching everything? Okay, so that is never being executed either. Enable disable context menu. All right. Yeah. All right. So handle resize. I mean, I'm okay with having one global resize handler running at all times, even if a dialog isn't showing. But we could very easily start it up and shut it down with the dialog, right? So we have show dialog and close dialog. Show and close. Show and close. Show and close. So then drag over board, append child. All right. So console.warn dialog shown. And then overlay element. That's basically when the dialog closed. So we want to run resize between these two. Dialog shown, dialog closed. All right. So, and we want to do it last thing. So resize handler is on window, I think. Window resize. Yeah. So window add handler window, and then it'll be f.handle resize. Like this. And then down here, ideally, unpause interaction. Ideally without being able to be intercepted. Okay, there's no returns here below that, so it should be fine here. All right, and then something like this. Let's see. So events.split is not a function. Oh, I think I need to give it an event name. Like that. All right. Aw, thanks to Biz2Play. It's nice to hear. Appreciate it. Okay, and then I close it. Remove handler. I think it's a rem handler. I need to document my APIs for myself someday. Okay, hand resize and if I pause and resize and I close. Okay. So, in this case, we should know that the current dialog is existing somewhere. So we have an overlay element, which is not here. And we have, do we have the dialog element somewhere assigned? No, it doesn't look like it. So we don't have, it doesn't look like we have a local reference. So this is all going wire global stuff. But it means we can do all of this in there as well. And we can just kind of dynamically pull that information. All right. So let's get rid of these for now. And the resize element has probably the window sizes in there somewhere. Window resize. And it should have a view. No. I think we can just, yeah, we can just pull these out here. Okay. All right, so we can do const inner height, window height, window, and inner width, window width. All right. Window height. Window width. Get rid of the warn. There's some, I mean, my CPU is not super busy. It's doing the camera stuff and the streaming stuff, but the browser feels so sluggish. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some, I have something, some tab open somewhere that's like maybe one of the fpuzzles tabs or something. Like, where's this one? Did I, everything Roggen again? Where is that? I don't even know. Live streaming, okay. But the Everything Roggen Again tab, let me see, it's maybe this one? No. Where is it? I've lost a tab. I don't have a YouTube open here, do I? Is it in one of these? Oh, there it is. Why was that there? I think there was something about that one that I wanted to check out. All right, never mind. That's closed now. This one I don't want to kill this tab. I'm just trying to clean up so I can get my browser to work properly. Don't want to kill anyone's thread to stream. There doesn't seem anything super busy actually. Probably some memory issues. I think I can kill all these. So Google Sheets a bit of a pig sometimes. Okay, that analytics is also piggish. Yeah, I can kill those. No, these are my streamings tabs. Can't kill those, can't kill those. Can kill that one. All right, that's gotta do for now. All right, so we have the window width and height. And we want to get information about the dialogue. So can we can just pull the bounds off of that. Let me just do this. Go down to rendering. And then I think it's not get content bounds. It's the other one. db bounds. Bounds. Oh, that's an actual function. Where's this function from? Is it from up here? Or is it from utilities? It's probably from utilities. I'm looking at the wrong folder. Here we go. Here we go. All right, so I can just do that. I'll go here. Const zip dialog dialog bounds was bounds dialog. Actually, I can just do this, right? Well, I have the reference already, so that's fine. All right. Don't need to do more query selectors than necessary. Now, we do want to run the resize once, so I don't have to do this every time. We're just going to call this once. We're not using the event anyways, right? So if I do this, bada bing, bada boom. All right, dialog bounds. Ah, wait, when was the off-center one? Size. There we go. But where was it? Where it didn't fit on screen. There we go. If I refresh it. Oh, that's why. It should actually check that it doesn't go there. But let's remove that check for a sec here. So on the center over dialog, we're doing a check here where we're basically not centering if it wouldn't fit, because we don't want it to fit right now, right? So we have the dialog bounds. Now, what do we want to do in a case like this? Well, ideally, we just want to not have it centered there. So I'm thinking the center dialog over board should be converted into a class. So then we can just, and then the code should run inside the resize, basically. Because I think it's not super easy, actually, for me to hard trigger this to be, because somebody said, oh, it should be the minimum of this, but I'm not determining the sizes. This is HTML, CSS styling, right? So I cannot just partially interfere with it. Because, for example, once I take over, I have to do it all the time. I don't know, I won't any longer know at what point the automatic algorithms should take over. That's the problem, right? And I don't want to replicate all of CSS styling, obviously not. If I were to kind of run it myself, yeah. But again, okay, so the board centering shouldn't happen in that case, and this doesn't run on resize. Okay. All right, let's see. Center or dialog over board. So right now, if we look at elements and we look at the dialog doesn't happen. So I think I'm going to put that onto the dialog overlay as a marker, because that means we can style anything, really. Overlay. And then we want to do class list.add center over board. Right. So if we look at this, it'll have center over board here. And then we're not going to do the rest of this for now. Just going to do this. Right. And then on resize, we can just check for that. So we're going to do, we're going to get an overlay element here. I guess this will be faster. And then we can do, actually I'll be interested at the overlay element bounds as well, just to compare. But we also want to do, check the class list dot, and if we do class list dot, no, body dot class list, no, don't change it, dot supports toggle to string contains token. Okay, so contains, what do we call it? Center over board, I guess. Center overboard, all lowercase. So that should return true in this case, right? Okay. Can do this. All right. I'm not too fond of making this kind of change, but I hope in like this close to release. But I hope it's a low risk because it could be completely screwing up certain devices, phones or something. So maybe I shouldn't squeeze that into this release and just make it an update afterwards. So it has some time to live in beta. Well, let's finish it at least, and then we can decide. All right, so center overboard is true. So if not center overboard, we basically want to run this algorithm. But ideally, we're going to make it simpler. And what does this algorithm do? So we have the dialog element already, so we can get rid of that. We're going to remove the margin left. Remove margin left. So margin left. Does that actually do a thing? I don't know if this works on the computed styles or not. Oh, let me get that. Board element. All right. If board element is true, return, or is no. No, not equal to no. Let's do this because later on in the resize we'll do a bunch of other things as well. So we cannot just exit out. Board element get bounding client rect. Now this is the same as calling bounds, right? So we probably just want to call bounds on these. Just to kind of use our internal tools. So if in the future I add additional functionality there, I don't have to worry about it not working in half the code. Get transform. The frick is that? Get transform. Oh my. So board transform, board width. So let's not do any of these for now. Let's just get up to here. So we have, well, we have a bunch of these. Board BB. Dialog BB. Board transform. Now the question is, do we need to recalculate all of this every time the resize happens, or is there something where we can say, oh, this won't change? Yeah. All right, board width is 675. Board transform is here. If the board width is smaller than the dialog width, we don't want to center it. So if the dialog doesn't fit over the board. Okay. So this dialog definitely doesn't fit over the board. Now if we calculate the offset, what does that look like? I think I lost most of you guys. All right, offset minus 296. So the problem here is not just the board. No, the board fitting should be the trigger. Okay, so the problem was previously, and I don't think we need this. I think the problem previously was that it just wouldn't update on resize, right? Margin left equals. I'm also a little concerned about that. This is also odd. Why would it sometimes do this? Oh, yeah, so this is the problem, right? Because after running this, all the other stuff changes. So the next time we run it, it's working on the wrong presumption. Oh, that's why I was removing the margin here. So removing the margin would basically recalculate the layout, but it wouldn't redraw for some reason. And then I could get the correct, okay. All right, so I ran through stuff before. So dialog bb.width needs to be smaller than the board width, or equal. Equal. We probably want it to be quite a bit smaller, actually. Now you see, this is not true. And that's probably the problem I was encountering. And I'm thinking that's related to the yeah, so this was... So the dialog width is definitely smaller than the board width, except it isn't. So I'm thinking this is related to some of the transform stuff. So let's see how wide this thinks it is. 746, so that matches this more or less. I guess that's the border around it. Why does it think the board is wider than it looks? So we're looking at dot board. Yeah, dot board is 464 by 464. Board width though is... Oh, I'm deliberately transforming it by the board transform, which is not what we want. It's the opposite of what we want, right? Or it's just, wait a second. Okay, let's see. No, So if we don't, let's see. I feel like we should have to do this, but maybe I'm doing it wrong. Maybe there's some other factor that I'm not considering. So let's see here. Now the dialog width is wider than the board. Yes. And if we're resizing this until they're more or less the same width. Yeah, now the board width is wider. And that makes sense. Let's change this until the board gets smaller. Now the board is getting smaller, 820. And at this point, it thinks the board is smaller than the dialog. Okay. So we probably want to give it some sort of margin here. So instead of the board W, let's use board, like the actual width, the untransformed width. Then as it gets bigger, we're now centering it over the board. It fits for sure. And then here it goes into the center. And then eventually it takes up the whole screen. And we need to do this here because obviously on resize changes the position of the board, right? And we probably want to do it on the height as well. So if the dialog doesn't fit over the board vertically, we probably want to do the same thing. Because otherwise, you know, we get a super narrow dialog on a big wide screen. Yeah. And now it's centered over the board. Now it's not centered. And if I shrink it vertically, it doesn't center. It's really not smooth. I don't know if it's a calculation or it was already not smooth prior, or if it's just all this logging I'm doing. We don't need to get the transform now. We don't need to calculate this. We do need to get these bounds. Right? We don't need that. Get rid of these. And we'll do if center over board and board element is not equal to null. Right? Dialog element we won't need until we're in here. Overlay element we do need. Board element we do need. These we don't need at all. So let's get rid of those. And board W we don't use here. Okay. All right. Any jankiness here is probably not related to this particular algorithm. Okay, so that's on the big dialog. And if we have a smaller one, let's not do that. Let's do that. Okay. Do we want it to vertically centered over the board as well? Don't know. might be a struggle. The other thing I want to do is actually I want to reduce the font size for this text. Especially like for bigger puzzles on a phone, it's just ridiculous, and it's quite big. Like it doesn't need to be this big even on a. So I think this is something we can do safely. So rules text is here. Why is font size 140? So I think this in general can be a little bit smaller. Not a lot, just a little bit. Line 199. So let's do it 120. Yeah, I think that's a lot saner, to be honest. And now it shouldn't just pop out over the edge of the screen, even on weird aspect ratios. Yeah, and then eventually we'll just start scrolling. All right, I think that'll do it. When I close the dialogue and then open a different one, I'm just thinking about now, what about dialogues that don't have the center over board flag? And I don't know which, I think now basically all of them do. I don't know of any dialogues that don't do it. In fact, what other dialogues are there besides like confirmation dialogues and stuff? I think all of them do now. So that might be something even to consider to get rid of altogether. Maybe that's just something that should always happen. All right, I think this is fine. And I think we just get rid of all of this. Don't know if this is something we want to do as a function, but for now this keeps the flow similar. So we changed the font size a little bit. We've moved this into resize. We gotta get rid of the console stuff. Get rid of that. And get rid of nothing there. So we're adding the resize handler. We're calling it once. We're removing the resize handler. And we added the handler. We indented the groups. And I think that's it. All right, I think that's it. And that's a minor, not a patch. That's definitely a small feature. All right. Excuse me. So, adjust dialog scaling. Okay. It's slumping a little bit, so I need to bring the table down. So that's done. Ah, yes. So we have an issue reported here about killer calculator interaction with because we have that scroll and somebody is using a tablet and it basically always triggers scroll like they, and to be honest, to be fair, I've had a problem where I couldn't click it because it always would take my my click as a movement. So the trick is, can we put a little buffer zone in there so it doesn't have like infinite sensitivity, right? And to do that, we need to first figure out where we're handling this, because I think it's not being handled here. I think it's handled elsewhere. So that scrolly thing is happening in some sort of utility function, probably. Let's find out which one. So attach element, handle scroll, attach scroll handler, right? Attach scroll handler, boom. Attach scroll handler does this. Attach scroll handler, attach handler, make grab scroll handler event. So we have this. That should happen only once. And then this should be happening. Make grab scroll handler. This becomes the handler. Handler detach. This can be a const. And then this should be handling the thing, right? And we probably want to return a function, so this becomes, it's not being used here, but you know, handle grab scroll. This is mostly for debugging that we can get neater stack traces, right? Yeah, I think that's nope. So make grab scroll handler, handle grab scroll. If mouse move touch, if E type and last pause. If mouse down, E type touch pass. Mouse up touch end. If has scrolled. Okay, so that is a little bit of an issue that it's kind of running all the time, right? So when I'm pressing down at this point, the scrolling is already engaged. So I'm guessing we'll have to do it in here. Handle, grab, scroll, move. And then we'll have this stuff calculated here. Like that. And okay. So this is kicking in the scroll immediately. Now, if I say, so because we don't want to update last pause and we want to handle X and Y separately. So let's do a little thing here. So we say const min move equals, I don't know, 10. Make it big. 20. Right? And then we can say if diff 0 is greater or equal to min move. Right? And we'll do this. And we're updating last pause per XY, right? Ooh, nope. That's not what I want to click. So we're going to do last pause 0 equals pause 0. And then we'll do the same thing on the y-axis, or the second axis. I guess that's the y-axis. We'll do this and we'll do that. So now X and Y should be separate. And if one triggers, the other one does not necessarily trigger. Although we might want to do that. No, because you might want to scroll up and down and you might be wiggling the mouse a little bit from side to side, but we don't actually want to scroll horizontally at that stage necessarily, right? So here we go. Did we just hear something? No, don't know. So now, nothing. All right, and the diff kind of gets bigger. Let's make the console slightly larger. I think I can bring this down a little bit. Yes. We'll do this, right? So I grab it here. Okay, come on. I grab it here, I bring it down. And every time it hits 20, nothing happens. Now it resets. Don't know why the horizontal. Oh, if apps. And then here we want to say console.log scroll from this to this. Right. Something like that. I don't know if I need to round that. And then we'll do the same thing for scroll top. And these are perfectly mirrored, I think so. And if has scrolled is true, does that make a difference to anything? All right, for the mouse up. So move down. Scroll top -20. Scroll top goes from 20 to 40. If I grow up, if I push down. Ah, here we go. Ah, this works. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. So that works. Okay. So if I go down and move it a little bit, so if we go here and go up, then say as scrolled, like that. Yeah. Do this, that, and release. Has scrolled is true. Okay, so this needs to also move in here. And here. Okay, I think that's the part that's actually important. Ah, yeah, now I can move my mouse a little bit, and if I release, it triggers the click. But if I move it enough to scroll, it won't trigger. Okay, so now we just need to find a sensitive minimum sensitivity kind of thing. And I think like 4 or 5 pixels. Don't want to go too big. But we need some sort of dead zone. And I'm wondering if once the scrolling has started, we can reduce the dead zone. Like once we're already scrolling. So first of all, we're going to move this up here. Boom. Then we're going to say if has scrolled is true, then we'll do it anyway. Or if it's greater than min move. So once we're scrolling, then it'll always scroll. So even if we make this fairly large, let's make it massive, larger than I can actually scroll, right? So nothing. Why did it work the other way around? 1 sec, let me try that again. Maybe I have gotten over 40 already. Yeah. Now the only other the other question would be, do we want to make it rather than XY separately? Do we want to make it directional? Because once one of them has kicked in, either one kicks in, right? Because now because it's in has scrolled, we actually, unless I separate, because now I'm saying that once has scrolled has kicked in, it won't take the second dimension as a separate consideration. So once we're scrolling in both directions automatically. We can't. What I was saying earlier is that, hey, if you want to scroll up and down, you don't want to scroll side to side. We can do that, except now we can't, right? Because the moment it'll scroll up and down, it also scrolls side to side. So if you're off a little bit, you will be moving it a little bit side to side. But I think I'm okay. I mean, I don't even think we have anywhere where we're scrolling in two dimensions at the same time. So we can probably combine these. Can we square these or something? I think we can just do them like this. And then we can just make this into 1. Has scroll becomes true. These kick in. This we can leave it like that. Doesn't make a difference. Simplify this just a little bit here. This becomes minus equals. Like that. Like that. We get rid of that. And then if we get rid of these, and this, and this, I think we're all good. I'm not sure if we want to trigger this one more time. Probably not. All right, so if I go here, open this up, it's fine. Scroll a lot, and now it's scrolling smoothly. And now we're gonna not super fine tune it, just tune it just a tiny little bit. I think that's fine. I mean, in the past, I personally didn't like it that I couldn't click and then move. Like, I had to be super careful. I had to almost not touch the mouse to click these. Now these work much better. So this is actually been on my to-do list. I mean, you feel a little bit where it doesn't scroll immediately, but probably with an inaccurate device like a phone, you probably don't, because it kind of jumps and catches up. It's almost like, I wonder if we shouldn't jump completely, like as it does. 4 pixels is really not that much. Let me see. Scroll dead zone. Drag scroll drags dead zone. Like there must be kind of a best practices type situation, you know, like what people should be doing. Dead zone in pixels. Pixels. I don't think it makes sense. Actually, it probably does make sense in pixels because it suddenly depends on the resolution of the input. I'm just going to go with this. Maybe make it slightly bigger because you can always drag more to get the actual scroll. And you very rarely need to scroll that accurately. In fact, the other place where we're scrolling is here. And in fact, scrolling here isn't enabled even with my custom scroll thingy. Probably because I don't need to interact with it in the same way. But I think this should do the trick. So we've changed that to a const, that's fine. We've changed it to a function, that's fine. We've added this minimum min scroll. We can probably move this out here. Don't actually think we want to make this a... we could... If we make this a variable, we can, in theory, change it from elsewhere. Yeah. If I externalize this, I need to reference it through the variable, right? So what I would have to do basically is const min move equals, you know, this, and then we can just spit it out the back as can just do what do we want to call it, min or scroll dead zone, something like that. Min move is probably more, or min drag, probably more what's the word, more self-explanatory. And then in theory, we should be able to change it after the fact, right? So I can go in here, I can scroll this now, and I can go SudokuPad utilities.min move equals mon move, no, min move, min drag equals 50. And now it won't drag anymore until I get it over 50. All right, that's good. That's little API-ish. Somebody says, if you double-click a digit into fog of war, it only selects the visible area digits. Yeah, of course. That's how it's supposed to be. But this is what I always say. The moment I change something, half the people are going to complain that I changed it, and the other half is going to complain if I don't change it. Oh my god, it's so slow. I'm going to open localhost. So, if you double click a digit in the fog, it only selects. Right, reset. Okay, I don't understand that. You cannot have a digit in the fog because the moment you click the fog, the moment you place a digit in the fog, corner marks. Ah. Okay, for corner marks it makes sense because corner marks, the system handles everything the same, but corner marks need to be treated differently in this case. All right, let's finish our scroll thing here. So I think this is all working, and this is also another minor. God damn it, we have so many minor bumps here. So that should be fixed in this version. The improve scroll sensitivity. Now, dead zone sensitivity. Now, I'm trying to remember, where did they send me a private message? I think they sent me an email. Was it here? Timer? No. Sorry, did somebody see this? Ah, here we go. Sion. Timber monkey user script. I've implemented. So maybe that'll work. We'll have to deploy though for them to be able to see this. Okay, so what was the other one? Ah, yes. So I remember when I implemented this, we added the hidden thing feature, and when we're doing the smart select, we're ignoring those cells. But of course, it should only ignore this for. But you see, this was actually, I think this was mostly because of givens, right? Because it would spoil givens basically. Let me think. I think this is under actions. Nope. Where is it? Smart select, mouse handlers, smart select, handle, drag, move, smart corner marks. Oh, excuse me. I'm sitting on like a little pile of tiny pillows and they're all crumpled up. One sec. I gotta fix this. This is very uncomfortable. Oh, I miss my chair. I still haven't fixed it. It's been many, many, many months. All right, so smart select. Actually, it's part of puzzle, isn't it? Where is smart select? So smart select cells, yada yada yada. So if I double click this, it hits smart select. And it's using hide clue to filter out the cell list. Okay. So because that's the only place. Yeah, so this is the only thing we've added in regards to that. Can we remove it now? So it would select this, but it would, let me just, can I? No, wait. There are no givens here, right? How would I handle givens in this case? We basically just want to include cells that have hide clue and givens, I guess. Because the problem is it's the normal selector that also includes givens. So make selector normal, and normal checks givens. Now that means if I double click, one sec, if I do this, right, and I bring this back in, and then we'll do a line of ones like this, like that. And if I double click this, okay, it won't select these. So we only want to include givens. I'm wondering if we can use prop visible instead and kind of actually do it properly. Because hide clue should impact prop visible. Cell val, prop contains given, prop contains tool, prop visible, case normal switch tool. So if prop visible given and prop contains given, right? So it's either one of these two, or because then prop visible would return true if it's a normal, and false otherwise, right? So if I do this, like that. Does that make sense? And then we just adjust prop visibility according to hide clue. I go there. Render prop visible. Prop visible. And I think it makes even sense for other features as long as they use prop visible. Now, the one thing it doesn't make sense is because I'm using prop visible to hide underlying things. Hidden by given. So even given can be hidden now. So given this dot hide clue. Is it called hide clue? Hide clue. So if return, the problem is that I need to check recursively, kind of thing, because it now means you can place. I think one of the problems is also that you cannot place center marks on a given clue, right? So if you select all and then put in corner marks like that, where there's a given, you know what? I'm going to need a test thing. But basically, what happens is that you cannot place anything on a cell with a given. But it would be awesome if I could let you place something, but then once it's revealed, the given overrides the other ones, right? And using the prop visibility mechanism, we might be able to do that. So the idea would now be that center and corner can be visible, despite there being a given. But the problem is it won't even let you put in a digit. But that would be okay, because it will only let you put in a digit if it's correct. Excuse me, because otherwise it won't reveal the fog, right? Actually, I don't know if that's true. It would be awkward. It would let you put in the digit would get hidden. That would make this... We could get into a bit of an infinite loop here, actually. So I definitely gonna need a test puzzle for that. And we're gonna use... Well, we're gonna make a small one. Settings. New grid. 3x3, confirm, right? And I think, do I have... I don't have my thing, my light bulb, my fog light extension running. I think I need to restart. So, new grid, go back to 3x3, constraints, fog light. So what we want to do is we're just gonna fog light these like that. Givens. So we're gonna put a given 1 here. We're gonna given 1 here and a given 2 here. All right. Oh, well, we can just do that. Right? Oh, wait. The fog lights are inverted. We want these to be lit up. Okay. Get a new link. And here's our test puzzle. So, if I double click this, it does that. Because it's checking visibility, right? All right, so it's gonna run a lot. So it does a whole bunch of prop visibility, given normal, given normal, given normal. All right. Now, if I put ones like this, yeah, you see, it wouldn't let me put a 1 in here. Now, let's see. If I go here and I put in a 1, does that get triggered by me trying to put in a digit? Yes. I might get into an infinite loop here. Let's try this. Okay, so given is not visible if we have this dot hide clue. And it's the opposite, right? Now, normal is hidden by given. The question is, should we recursively call prop visible, right? Because, in other words, do we want to block entering a digit if there's a given? If the given is inside fog. So the question is, can I do this? So if I go here and I press in a 1, 1, there's all of these. Now the other ones are probably done by checkers, yeah. Let's get rid of the checkers for now. So we have less noise. I put in a 1 here. 1. Normal given, normal given. This is like a recursive thing. Double click, doesn't. Now if I put in a corner mark. So I think there's another check. We do prop visible corner. But it does these checks. All right, so instead of these checks, if we do... Would prop visible normal be true? Return not prop visible normal. If prop visible normal. So if the normal is visible and it doesn't have a normal, then we should be able to put in marks. Of course, this will interfere in the future if we ever have hidden normal entry and stuff like that. So if I put in a corner now, doesn't even let me put in a 1 here. Boom. Corner, normal, given. Center, normal, given. Corner, normal, given. Center, normal, given. Corner. So, normal. So this recursively checks given. So 1 second. So we're gonna show we have clue given normal. This will be this hide clue prop visible given. I think they're inverted potentially next to each other. And then normal. So clear that, go here. Clue given normal, false, false, true, false. I think I need to get rid of the recursion. Otherwise, it's gonna drive me up the wall. False, true, false. Prop visible given. Do we care about visibility at the moment if you're typing it, if you're trying to... Because this is not asking me to type in a normal. It's asking me, can we see the normal? Yeah, that's always the case. I mean, I could hack my way around it, but I prefer to solve things from first principles. So if I can make it work in a fundamentally structured, correct fashion, then lots of other things will magically also work, right? The problem is prop visible. I don't know if this is used to determine if you can enter a prop, right? So for example, this tells me the fog might tell me that given isn't visible. Now, if the given isn't visible, it normally means we can put in a corner, right? So I'm trying, but I think there might be secondary checks. So I go here and I just put in a corner mark, right? The problem is it's doing all these checks and it's super spammy. But basically, toggle group, right? So we're trying to check, but it also checks if it also contains, but it only checks that. Then it does the recursive check. All right, so let's not do recursive checks for now. So we're gonna skip one. We're gonna change this back to a has prop given. So given, the problem is I don't even know right now if it's useful for the given to be visible or not, right? So what's going on here? And I don't even know if these are from different stages of different commands, right? So it's checking the corner. The corner checks if normal is visible. But it should actually output these. Oh, but they run through the things. Okay, so we don't want to do that. Okay, so let's just say this for now. Okay, so that's why I'm creating the recursive calls myself. It's a bit annoying. Can I get rid of that dialog? For testing, it's terrible. For most people, I think it's fine. There should be don't pause and start. So if I refresh now, yeah. All right, get rid of that. So if I put in a 1 here, prop visible corner. Prop visible. Why would it check corner first when I tried to put in a number? That's strange. Toggle group. Let's check on toggle group actually. Let's get another copy up. Oh, 21. Oh. Toggle group 2188. 2188. Yeah. Let's do this. Do a nice stack trace. So clear this. So I'm gonna go here, put in a 1. So it wants to change. Oh, because I'm in corner mode. Okay, I'm an idiot. All right, let's go here. 1. Toggle group cells normal 1. Prop visible normal. And prop visible normal should come back as prop given. So as prop given is normal visible. The word visible is a bit confusing because it's really, can a digit or can that value be entered, I think, which isn't exactly the same. I might have to go back to how it was and then review that. If given is visible. Because normal is visible if given is visible and there's no given. So we kind of have to do return prop visible given and not has prop given, right? So if I go here, oh geez, press a 1, prop visible normal, prop visible given. And this will come back as, because given isn't visible, so we can't put a digit in here. But now we can't put a digit in anywhere. Okay, so that's... Yay. I guess it'll have to be the reverse then, or... Huh? So, we'll go here, put in a 1, prop visible normal, prop visible given. So prop visible given will be false, or not has prop given. So visible, jeez. Yeah, so this still doesn't work. Okay. Yeah. No, I'm trying to think because I'm wondering if this would enable other things and make other things easier. Because I've always had that issue that the given is now because in the past, given was a value that blocked the cell from all the others. Like, so for example, if you had corner marks and you put in a digit, it would hide the corner marks. The corner marks were no longer visible if there's a digit. And the givens would act similarly, but it would also hide the normal digits, right? So you couldn't type in a digit into a cell that had a given. That's how the hierarchy worked. Now, there's another level. There's a level of fog which hides the given. The problem is, if the given isn't visible, in theory, you should be able to put in the other things. So it would be great, because right now, I cannot put corner marks on a cell that has a given, but it would be great if I could. You see what I mean? And that's the thing that I would love to be able to enable, because right now I can find out where the givens are. Oh, there's 2 givens here, right? So that's kind of one of the few remaining issues with the fog spoiling things. And putting in digits. Can I do something? Oh, because I don't have a solution. I'd have to add a solution for that. So if I could make that work, I'd love to be able to put in a digit. Ultimately, it won't work, right? Because if it's the wrong... Like, it would be great if I could put in a wrong digit that doesn't reveal the fog on top of a given. And it tells you... And that way you know it's not the right digit because it doesn't reveal the fog. So let's put in a solution quickly. So the solution would be all 3s for the remainder. Or like... no. Solution... So we're gonna be view solution. I think, no, I need to change tools, but not, I don't think, it's not given digits. It's something else. It's not solve either. Ah, normal. I think it's normal. Where's the solution tool? If I go here, let's say if I make this 3, this is a 2, 3. Oh, I already broke it. No, no, 3. I want to let me. It won't even let me put it. Oh god. Okay, if I do this, save solution. Yeah. Now the problem is it's put in these as given digits. How can I stop putting in given digits? Like there doesn't seem to be a tool for just putting in digits, right? Like I don't want these to be given digits. I don't actually know how to do this now. I've done it before, but I don't know what tool I have to select. Whoops. To put in a solution. Come on. Like, how do I type in the solution digits? Ooh. The problem is I'm typing in given digits, which I don't want to do. I don't want to change regions. If I switch to this, can I? You see, I cannot type in digits unless... Oh my god, how do I type in a solution? This is insane. Do you have to go in solve mode, maybe? Maybe? I guess it's worth a try. Ah, okay. Jesus. All right. I didn't know that. All right. So now... Now we should have a solution embedded in this, which should make the fog work better. So for example, if I put in a 3 here... Yeah, you see, putting in a 3 doesn't reveal the fog. But I'd love to be able to put a 3 here as well, which doesn't reveal the fog, right? And then if you put the correct number on the top of the given digit, it will reveal the fog, but suddenly hide your digit and replace it with the given, right? So what happens here? Toggle group, prop visible normal. So the problem here is it checks if the given exists, right? Now the problem also is that visibility depends also on, normal would be visible. Oh my god. Because I think a cell that doesn't have a normal entered has the normal visible, even though there's no normal present, because it's not hidden underneath a given, right? So visibility is, you see, it's for normal to be visible, all it needs is to not have a given, right? And for given to be visible right now, all it needs is to not have a clue. So for normal to be visible, all it needs is to either, so it could be hide clue or not has prop given. I guess that would be the fundamental version. Toggle group cells, normal, prop visible normal. So if I do put that there, I'll do this. Press 3. So prop visible normal is true, but then I'm suspecting that toggle group. So we have the first check coming from 2191, which is this one. So that filters the cells. And then the second one would be cells contain, because I'm guessing prop set itself checks as well. Cells. So we're getting a cell. Cell contains, prop contains. Cell contains is less than cell's length. Okay, and then we're hitting prop set. And then I'm guessing prop set doesn't rely on visibility. It does check. One sec. So prop val. And then we do this. And then prop contains. Let's see how that looks. So prop set normal to 3. Prop visibly normal is true. Prop visible. Prop contains prop val false. Prop visible normal is true. So prop set. We're hitting prop set. Then we're doing a prop visible check here. So prop visible is true. So if it's not true, or prop contains and prop contains is false. So we don't return. So we should be getting to set value here. And then I'm guessing set value checks. So instead of doing this check, we should do if. The problem is if I make this dependent on visibility, we might get into circular references, right? The visibility checks might be checking the values. Ugh. So if this dot prop visible, I have to be so careful. Normal. If not, return. If normal isn't visible, we can't put in a value, right? Now let's see if this is going to go into a... So I put in a 3. So I put in a 3, but it turned into a given. This is exactly what I wanted. But I can't delete it now. Okay. Now if I put in a 2... So that's the question. Why can't I put in a 2? Cells contain... okay, what's that? Cells contain... Prop contains tool value. But the tool is normal. And true 2. That shouldn't be true though, right? So restart. Clear that. Put in a 1. So prop contains is false. Replace normal. It's visible. Prop visible. Prop visible. Normal. True. 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 What happened then though? Prop visible. Normal. So if I double click, so now, so it has a value of 1 in here, but it's not. So normal. The normal layer is not actually visible through the fog of war. Okay. That's odd. It won't let me place corner marks. I go here. Okay, because they're not set up the same way. So the question now becomes, what would be the process of getting the givens, the normal digits visible through the fog? Is it just a layering thing? Is it part of the which layers are not being fog masked correctly? It could very well be, right? So let's check the layers. Which layers are being fog masked? Where does that happen? I forgot. Fogged layers. Query selector, fogged layers. Cages, cell, overlay, cell, givens. So values aren't fogged. Okay, let's reset puzzle just to make sure. Restart, reload. Give me console. Come on, give me console. Clear that. So I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna put in a 2. So by all regards, the 2 should have gotten in there. Now let's look at cell values. It's not being rendered though. So if I look at cell 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If I look at cell 7. So it has a value, right? So we have the value in the cell. So I'm suspecting it's the rendering algorithm now that's saying, cell render content. Candidate, nope. Colors, nope. Pen, nope. Nope, nope, nope. Pencil marks, nope. Else. Rendered values profile again. Do we get here? Because I have a it looks like it should work. So I'm still not sure why it isn't. Because the value doesn't end up in the DOM, right? Clue is undefined. Update prop. Normal. Prop contains. Cell contains. So I don't see this getting called at all. Why is that? Why is that? Update prop gets called for if... Ow. So we have a hard check here for given to render these. So this is basically what we would have to change. So we'd have to say if this dot prop visible given and has prop. Isn't has prop the correct? And this dot has prop given. Oops. Then we clear these vowels. Think. Oh, nope. That's what I wanted to do. Ah. We can put in a 1, and when we put it in a 3, it reveals it. So this would allow us to put givens, values on top of givens underneath fog. Okay. And I think we want to do a similar thing for the pencil marks and the values, right? So we want to do basically this again. If prop visible normal and this has prop normal. Now if it's not visible, and it won't be visible if there's a given, right? And then we can just do this. And if I put in a 1 here, okay, if I delete it, oh yeah, I can delete it. If I put in a corner mark, okay. Now if I reveal something, the corner marks disappear. Oh, they come back. They do come back. That's actually exactly what I want. The problem is how many other things are breaking when I do this. So this is like a high risk maneuver, right? So hidden is visible, given is only visible, not visible if high clue is true. Normal is visible if prop visible given, if prop visible given isn't true. Ah, shoot, no. If not prop visible given, or if prop visible given, if prop visible given and not has prop given. That should be what we need for normal. Let's get rid of this for a sec because it's making everything so sluggish because it executes so many times. Okay. No, so this still doesn't frickin' work. So this doesn't work anymore. I put in a 2 here. So this does not work. Let me get rid of the render content spam here. Yes. So let me think. So let's get rid of all of this stuff. Set given set value. Problem is we might have to revamp a whole bunch of stuff down here as well. Clear value. So instead of being reliant on given, we just want to see if it's visible. If not prop visible, yeah. The cells aren't rendered correctly. I wonder if that's because we need to re-render the cells after the fog has been applied. Yeah, you see, clearing the puzzle doesn't re-render that. That's so odd. All right, let's do this. So it won't let me put in a corner mark. It won't let me put in a given. Okay, it won't let me put in a given right now. Why? Restart. Clear. Select these two. Why is it? Is it running in some kind of loop already? Like, why is it hitting this so many times? And it's always on. Wait a second. Why is it all on R1's? Given normal given. Given normal given. Given normal. Oh my god. Why is it running through all the cells? What is this for? Oh my god, it's for the error checker. Ugh. Ugh. This is gonna... I wonder if I can only make this work if I got kind of from the ground up redesign this whole thing. I feel like we didn't get this spammy stuff before. So this is all from the error checker, isn't it? I guess up here, this is not from the... So we want to toggle the group. So it says, is given visible? Is prop visible given? Clue or no. So basically you want to do this. Like that. These are not useful. And then we want to check for normal based on these parameters. Okay, reset the puzzle because I don't know what's in that cell right now. Clear all of this mess. Clear the mess. Put in a 2. Oh my god. All right. So, given visible is false, and of course I put it in twice, so I don't know which is which. If prop is visible given, or... No, this is not correct. So if prop visible given, we want to check for has prop only if the prop is visible. So if not prop visible given, or not has prop given. Yeah, okay, this is what we want. All right, clear out all the spam. Clear it out. Put in a 2. Okay, remove the 2. Put in 2 2s. Remove the 2 2s. So that's the only thing, is that it doesn't remove the 2 when the given is shown. That's the only thing that I would want to do, is that once the given is rendered, because that's weird, right? Especially since this is selected. If I'm pressing 2 here, I want to remove the 2, but it won't let me because it's hidden under the 3, right? So this works. Okay. So at least we can do these now. If I put in a 2, now once the 3 is typed in, I cannot All right, so if I do this, and then I do this, and if I do this, yeah, so that kind of works as I want it. I can select these. I can't select these. If I put a 3 here, no. If I put a 3 here, it won't select this 3. If I put a 2 here, put a 2 here, double click the 2. Well, let me put a 2 here. Won't let me remove it though, which is a pity. It's really janky though. Like, some things don't work as you would expect them, and it feels like a high risk maneuver because I don't know if it'll break something else. So we want to repeat what we did here down here, basically. So we would say, if either normal is not visible, but that will let us put something on top of givens, which we don't want. If normal is visible and we don't have a normal prop. If prop visible is given is visible and not have a given. Because if, yeah, so that's the difference, right? This just doesn't cascade. So we want this to go in even if given isn't visible. So that's why we have the inversion here with the or. But here we want it the other way around. We want... Because if there's a given, normal will not be visible. And then we don't... Yeah, so only if normal is visible, but there's no normal, do we want to be able to enter these markings. I don't know if this is correct, and I don't know if it's updating correctly either. And we are changing a couple of different very critical paths at the same time, which sounds super risky. For example, I've updated these, right? But maybe I have to update all the other ones. I don't know if any of the other ones are operating the same way, right? Like how do colors work, for example, right now? We just reset. Because colors should be visible through the fog. And they shouldn't be affected by these things. I should be able to do this, for example. Yeah, this is kind of how I want it to work, to be honest. Because now we no longer... And we can even select it, you see? We know this isn't right. Which means you can put in the wrong digit on the fog now without worrying about showing something off, you know? So in a way, it's kind of good. Clear candidates, pen marks. So these are handled with prop areas. Like, I don't think these are handled with visibility checks. So if I do this, put in a 3, get rid of the 1, 3 won't be here. So it's just checking on its own. If this prop visible returns, we don't toggle it. So it's already doing its own visibility checks. Okay. Given it's currently not doing a visibility check because there isn't a... Yeah, givens, you just outright set them. Okay, so this was really the only wonky check. Ah, it could work. It could work. It could work. It's just so risky. It's so risky. We had to change... Did we change this? Yeah, we had to change these two. And then what else did we do? We had these. That seems to work now. Man. I'd like to do it because it's making it work more like what I want, how I wanted it to work initially. All right, let me double check. What was the original complaint? The original complaint was if you double click a digit in the fog of war, it only selects the visible area digits. Okay, so the idea is you have, or let's put some center marks in here, and a 3 and a 3. And I want to be able to double click. Oh. Why does it smart select on the colors here? It should smart select on the corner mark. That's a little odd. It should smart select on the corner mark. So we are in normal tool. The order should be normal. Oh no, the color is higher priority. I did not know that. All right. But that should work now. Without this working, now if I put a 1 here, that suddenly works, and that's kind of great. Can select the 2s here, even though this isn't correct. Now, how does the conflict checker here screw me? All right, that's good. So the conflict checker... Oh. So this one is conflict check, but this one isn't. So the conflict checker, I think, is actually looking at hide clue directly instead of visibility. I wonder if we could switch it over to using visibility instead. Oh, Mark, I need you to talk me down from this. Because it feels so juicy, but at the same time, it's so... Yeah, because we're basically not even including them into the visibility checks outright. Check cell. Check pencil marks, hide clue. Yeah, we're outright excluding that. So let's say if I have a 1, 2 here, you see it won't error against that. It will error against the 3, but not against the 2. But I kind of want it to do that now. The question is, can we do scene cell, cell val, undefined? Let me think. We're going prop get prop, cell dot prop vals, prop get prop visible. If not cell prop visible prop continue. So we're going through each of the properties. Right. Then we're getting the property values. Now, if in the scene cells, so if I get rid of that check for the hide clue stuff here, or so if we get rid of this, right? So that 3 now triggers this, but the hidden one doesn't, which is kind of what you want. Only use the visible check when cell has hide clue. No, the hide clue should be part of the visibility check, right? So this is what I want, but you see it doesn't trigger on this 3. But it also doesn't trigger on the 2 right now, which is strange. Hide clue. So we're checking it here. We don't actually want to do this either. So if I put a 2 here, I want this to trigger. I'm actually bewildered that it doesn't. That this 2 does not trigger this. This 2 triggers it. But this 2 does not trigger these guys. So it's ignoring the 2 that's on the fog. Even though I think I've changed that now. I'm not using hide clue in here. I'm not using hide clue up here. I'm a bit scared of writing, of logging out from here. It'll be super spammy. All right, let's risk it. No stock trace though. So, what's the prop? Prop vals, scene cell. So, put a 2 here. It still doesn't render it on startup either. If I clear this, right? So, we're checking center marks against the values 1, 2, 3. If prop vals includes cell val. So, given or value. So this is a problem here because we're circumventing the prop get mechanism here. Although it should still be something, because I'm also wondering if get sort of prop get value normal should return given if there's a given. It would make a lot of code easier because I have a lot of places where I have to check for both. So if I put a 2 here, which by the way doesn't come back on the replay, so there's something going on. So the replay probably doesn't take the fog of war into consideration, or when the replay runs, the fog of war isn't there yet, which is also a problem. That's the thing, yeah, the hide clue stuff doesn't get set up until the fog of war gets rendered. So this is all very risky, so I don't think I can put it into this release. But I'm curious if we could make it work at all. So somehow it's not getting that 2. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So these are all... So cell val is only ever 1. Why does it never come back with a 2? Let's clear that. If I put a 2 in here... Now some cell val would come back as 2, right here. So it's skipping the cell somehow. Prop get, prop val's length. I'm trying to figure out where, because I'm not using high clue to skip it. What if I do scene cell dot prop get given, and we'll do something like prop get given and we'll do the same thing for normal. So the question now becomes, if I put a 2 here, okay, the scene cell, sure. Given is visible. Okay, that's for this cell. True. Normal is 2. That's this one. All right, let's get rid of that one. And let's get rid of the scene cell here. It's just too spammy. Putting a 2 here. So true 1, false, undefined. True, false, true, false, true, false, true, false, true, false, 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 false. So for normal, false, true. That's the visibility. False, false, true, true, true. I think I'm gonna need the RC of this cell as well. Oop, comma. So 1, 1, row 2, column 1, row 1, column 1, row 3, column 1, that's this one, row 3, column 1, row 3, column 2, row 3, column 1. So it's never considering the cell at all. Why? Check pencil marks is run on each cell. Oh. Are they excluded up here already? No. So that should just be running on all cells, right? Yeah. It doesn't limit by scene cells or anything like that. So we're checking if prop is visible. So in this case, the prop would be center marks, right? Prop is visible, true. Prop walls are 1, 2, 3. So let's say one of these, right? And then scene cells is passed in from out here. So scene cage cells. So scene cage cells. What if we output it here? So we have cell.toRC. And then scene cells map cec.toRC dot join commas. That should just give us a line for each cell that the checker runs through, right? So we want to look at 3, 3, right? So we're checking 3, 3. And 3, 3 only sees one cell. So scene cells does not include the hide clue cells right now. I thought I've changed that. Scene cage cells. Well, puzzle tools, here we come. Scene cage cells. Scene cage cells. Ah, it's getting filtered here. I think if we use the visibility, we might not need this filter anymore. Ah, I wish I would have thought of that originally. But you see now, this sees a 2 and a 3. So now it's not using the visibility because we haven't put that in yet. So I do this, check pencil marks. So it sees a 3 and a 2. Now prop get, does prop get take into consideration prop visibility? So prop get, in other words, no, it doesn't. So we should do something else here. We should do cell val equals so we have scene cell prop visible given and prop get. So if we have a visible given, we're going to return the given. If it's not visible and or doesn't have a value, then we're going to do the same thing for normal. If prop visible, or we do it the other way around. If prop visible is normal, then we return prop get. If prop visible normal and prop get normal, or prop get given. Because prop get given because we want it this way around. Because normal might be visible, and we want that one first, I think. Doesn't really matter now, because only one of them will ever be visible at any one time, right? Because if normal is visible, it means given isn't. And if given is visible, normal won't be. So this should do the trick, I think. Yeah, in fact, this one doesn't see anything. This just sees ones. And if I put a 2 here, it does this. But if I put a 1 here, now this sees a 3 and a 2. Yeah, this is what we want. So this 2 does not see this 2 now. This sees this 2, and if I put a 3 here, it'll see this 3. If I put a 1 here, but if I remove this 2, it will now not see this 3, but if I put a 1 there, it sees all 3. So this is, I think, the exact behavior we originally wanted. And it's pushing the mechanism lower down. So we don't have to have these special checks all over the place. We'll just have to correctly make sure we're only considering the cells that we can actually see via the prop visible mechanic. Which means now all the scene algorithms and so on go back to how they used to be, just returning the cells, right? But then we're making sure that we're only paying attention to the cells according to, you know, what makes sense. And then maybe later on we want some helper functions to make this kind of mechanism a little simpler. So if we were to do it like this, I'm still not entirely sure that I can let it go into this release because it's too risky. But it would be by far a much better mechanism overall. We'd have to, you know, like for example, if I put a 3 here, actually that seems to work already. If I put a 1 here, yeah, you see now it marks the 3, now it doesn't. So even though the other checks are still using hide clue, or maybe they're not, I don't know. If not hide clue and cell check cell missing expected, so undefined. The thing is, we should probably change these to this. So cell val should always be this, and we probably should have a function on the cell that simplifies this. Kind of like that. We actually don't want to. We don't actually need any of these. Just need cell val, right? So this doesn't error. Like this 3 doesn't conflict with this 3 until it becomes visible. Oh, and now I put a 2 here, and that does the right thing. So this 3 should not be there. That should be a 1. Yeah. What do you think, Mark? This works kind of, I think, how we both imagined it should work. And we struggled, like, I struggled to get it to work correctly. And the reason was because where we were doing the checks wasn't in the right place, and we didn't have access to the information that we needed. So even if I'm not taking this further, I definitely want to put this into a branch for later inclusion, because I think this could go into a release, but it just needs to sit in testing for a bit longer, and I don't want to delay the current release any further. And I don't think I'm gonna do a patchy version of this either. I think if we're gonna hold on to it, it just goes into the next release, right? So as soon as this is released, this will go into beta basically. And I think this is actually it. 3610. Yeah, we definitely need a kind of a helper functions for these kind of mechanisms now. 3659. So we don't need that filter anymore. Puzzle tools, yeah. It affects other things as well. So, for example, it might screw with the killer cage and things like that. So that's the other thing. Yeah, the problem is we're not doing the correct visibility checks all over the place, right? So anything else that uses these helper functions will now be broken. Like I said, for example, the killer cage calculator probably would have, everything would have to be updated to use the visibility checks correctly. And like I've got a couple of places where I'm doing this instead of doing prop get. So I really have to enforce accessing through. In fact, I might have to change them to being setters and getters and all this stuff. So I think I'm gonna put this into a branch, and then we can get back to it after the release, if we remember. If somebody reminds me. Version. So I apologize, Trevor. I don't think it's gonna make it into this release. So what we're gonna call this? Git checkout v. Oops. So that's v236.0. How do I normally name my branches? Oh, forgot. It's a feature branch. Feature. Plus. Fog. Improved. Fog. Fog checking. I'm just gonna call it that. Yeah. This definitely should go into beta. If it's in beta, sitting there for a while, and people can report all the little kind of interactions and stuff, then I'm much more comfortable with that. Improved fog conflict checking, and yeah, I think that's kind of fundamentally what it is. All right. I'll publish that just to make sure I don't forget. All right, go back to master. Come on. Man, it's taking forever sometimes. Repo isn't that big, is it? All right. What I'm gonna try to do though is like that one little check. So let's just reset. So you said if I do this and I double click these. Yeah. So that one we might be able to change. And I think the change it would need is, or actually it might not be trivial. Oh yeah, it was here. So if we remove this, that'll work. If I put a 3 here, it'll do that, right? So basically we need to make this conditional on just be givens, on just givens. If filter cells, if cell, if not cell dot has prop given. So either it doesn't have a given. If it doesn't have a given, we're fine with this. Or not cell height clue. So if one of those two is true, yeah. So now that one doesn't work, but that one does work. And that one works, and that one works. Yeah, we can put a 3 in here. We'll put a 1 here. Put a 2 here and a 2 here. I can select both of these, right? And if I put a 3 up here, it selects those two, but not that one. If I put a 2 here, I can select all 3. Guess that'll be a 1. No, 2. That'll be a 1. That'll be a 1. Yeah. Yeah, I think that kind of, you know, does the thing that we wanted originally. I should have done that an hour ago. And I think that's safe enough to put in as a patch. Bump. Patch. So all we're changing is that this is only for Smart Select. So Smart Select only takes height clue into consideration. Why did it jump? I don't know why it jumped there. It only takes height clue into consideration for cells that have a given prop, right? If the cell doesn't have a given prop, it goes in. If it has a given prop, we check if that is not a hidden one. All right. All right. And it's basically just allow Smart Select. Hey guys, sorry. Allow Smart Select on fog cells for pencil marks. I think that is this particular change. Okay. So that's done. Oh yeah, that was done. Okay, that was done. That one I haven't done yet. Okay. And then we'll put that in. Enable Smart Select on fog cells. Now, one thing I gotta be careful. Yeah. Oops. If I do this. I think that's okay. Yeah, that's kind of what we want. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, hey Shelby. I think you're coming very much towards the end of the stream today because I'm getting tired and hungry, and it's already really late. All right, let me just check something quickly if I got a response on this email, because I got a really kind Patreon support of somebody yesterday for a whole 50 euros. And I would love to put them onto the thank you page, because that's quite the bump. And then also I got a Patreon sub from the guy who did the can of worms puzzle, wormholes. So I'd like to put him on the thanks page. Thanks for stopping by. So I'll update the page when I get a response from them on email. I don't want to just put people willy-nilly on a public page. So the custom message feature, I really want to write it up. But basically, Simon asked me that basically PenPal has a feature for putting a custom message in a dialogue. And he asked me if we could support that. And basically, I've added a message type for each kind of dialogue. And it's basically supported through the usual mechanism of doing metadata cages. So it's basically just a hidden killer cage with that metadata. So let's put one in just as a sample. Let's see. So let's put a cosmetic cage in the corner with. Let's. Nope. No. Wait. Let's do this again. Cage, corner, 1, 2, 3, and let's do 2 cages and one here. Right, and right now you can just by just editing them with JSON editor, we can go in here. We can make them both invisible by just setting these colors to 0, and then here we're gonna make the value message incorrect. That's no good. It's no good. And then here we call it message correct. Well done. Whoops. Well done. I'm a kiddo. All right. So these should work. Let's see. Change our data here once again. 2, 3, nope. 2, 3, 1, 3, 2, and 1. Well done, kiddo. Woohoo! And if I put in well, it won't give a dialog unless I check, and that's no good. So these messages go into the dialogues instead of the standard messages. So that works fine. I don't actually. I've seen this before, but this was when I broke something, so I'm not entirely certain. I'd have to double check exactly when the other ones show. I think message valid is the one when we don't have a solution, and message invalid is when we. Yeah, so these two is basically for no solution. So if I go, I don't know if I can remove the solution doing this. I think I might be able to. Current puzzle.solution. So if I just delete this, I think it'll think there's no solution. Yeah, so now it shows the message invalid one, and if I put the right one in, it'll show the message valid. So I can override those as well. So you know, put the word out if somebody asks for this sort of thing. What I wanted to do, or what I need to do, is I need to start putting kind of that information. Sorry, because the thing is, it's not a quick thing, because not only do I have to explain what it does, where it goes, and ideally nicely with screenshots and stuff, I also have to explain the whole metadata concept of putting these cages in there with that custom data, right? So ideally, because I was actually looking into creating a plugin for this, and that would make it easier, but I spent like a day on it, and I didn't really. I ended up putting a 0 button on it. See, we can put zeros into puzzles now. But that wasn't the intent originally. So that was one other item I wanted to work on. I'm thinking, because the homepage is really, I put this here originally when I was like for the testers before it was released. So this is really crappy. So I would like to change this, make sections for these things, and then maybe every time I create like a major feature, you know, like the color palettes, for example. Some people sent me some color palettes, and I haven't even had time to look at them. And my goal was always to improve the standard palette. I don't even remember who sent me color palettes. Like, I probably have to scroll back to find them now. There might be some in my email as well. I didn't collect them properly, so I feel kind of bad about that. Who sent me a color palette? Let me just. I'm looking at. I think Mark, did you send me one? Romy, no. Piotr. He asked me about the Fog of War. Ooh, that was ages ago, and I didn't reply. And he's a patron. Ugh. Yeah, sometimes I really fall behind on my messages. Don't. Okay, I can't find it now. Somebody. Oh wait, no, it was in the Puzzle Plaza channel, I believe. I think maybe. Color palette. Maybe not. All right, I'm gonna have to find this somewhere, some other time. But basically, I've asked people to send in kind of their custom color palettes. Like, you know, I've implemented them. I haven't heard much back, and these colors weren't really meant to be the ones people use. Oh yeah, somebody mentioned something about the long press happening too easily. Let me put that on the list. Zlib, when did this get here? Tuning of color tool saturation. Yeah, because basically that's the other thing that bugs me at the moment is that basically what happened was originally the colors were very light because they were semi-transparent. And what I've done in the meantime is I figured out that I could add a second layer underneath with the same colors in it. So I can still have the transparency, but if they are not on top of, let's say, some sort of blocking element, like another color, underneath will be the same color again. And it'll be, I think it's this one. Overlay. Or at least I thought that's how I implemented it. The idea was basically to have the colors in their usual place, but then another copy at the very bottom. So instead of being transparent against white, they would be transparent against themselves. But apparently that's not the case. So apparently I just removed the opacity, or I changed it. Yeah, I changed it to 0.7, so maybe it has to go back to 0.6. Yeah, because I feel it was too saturated and I sometimes couldn't see things properly. So let me make that the last thing, because that's been pending on my to-do list to actually change that. Because I feel I'd like to make them less transparent, but they're getting too bright then. Not too bright, too strong. And then it makes it hard to see other things. So tool colors, tool. And it'll be like, if I release it like that, it'll be a big shock for a lot of people. And most people don't actually run it on, you know, people using it on beta maybe. I haven't heard any complaints. It seems to be only bothering me. Yeah, so I think this needs to be a 0.6, like the original color transparency. So it won't be too different. Let's see what it looks like if I open this in SudokuPad or an app.cracking.com on the Google server. It's faster for me. So if I go here, right, and I'll do what I did on the other puzzle. Was green, yellow, red? Right. Yeah, you see now the colors more or less match. It may be slightly different. Yeah, they're a little dimmer, like a little less vibrant, but a similar brightness. Actually, what is the alpha on these colors now? On the original site. Let's double check that quickly. So colors, I think the alpha was still part of these here. No, 0.6. It was 0.6. So maybe the colors were slightly changed when I converted them or something. Yeah, there is a CSS color, but I don't know if it actually applies. I don't know if it overrides this. So the colors are set, but they're also set in here. Anyway, it's a little bit of a mess, but I think this, I just need to do this so there isn't that. I want people to focus on the actual changes, not on like, oh, the color is different than what I'm used to, you know? Even if it's better, there'll be enough people who will be bugged by it, so it's better to keep it the same. Especially if it's then editable for the people themselves directly. So adjust color transparent color opacity. And it's just going back to how it was. I think that's best. All right, I think that's where I'm going to call it the end of the stream. I think we're getting really close for this to be ready for release. Hey, Mark, about your question. To be honest, this was a direct mapping to how it is internally, because there are different messages, right? And right now there are different messages because in one case, the system in fact, these are the messages, right? So if a solution is given and you've filled in the puzzle correctly, it says you solved the puzzle, the solution is correct. And remember, when we worked on the solution feature, we wanted to reinforce the fact that there's a solution and reinforce when there isn't a solution, so people would be compelled to add solutions, right? So this is the text that it says when there isn't a solution. Looks good as far as I can tell, because, you know, the system doesn't know if it's correct or not, right? So now, do we want to be able to customize them? Maybe, maybe not. Worst case scenario, somebody put in both, right? And if somebody ever builds a tool or a plugin, they might very well just merge the two and just add both of them with the same value, right? But, and to be honest, by the time somebody puts custom rules in, they're probably including a solution. So these three probably will never be used, except in the rare situations where somebody deliberately doesn't include a solution. Maybe they want to do some weird fog of war where they want all the fog to be released, no matter what you type in, maybe for a, you know, Minesweeper type game or something. Like, there could be some sort of circumstance. Put those questions in the chat so other people know what the hell I'm talking about. Basically, Mark was asking what the distinction is between something like message correct and message valid, and message incorrect and message invalid. Invalid just means, hey, there's no solution, but it doesn't, it violates the rules some other way, right? All right, that's it. I'm getting sore. That's the end of the stream. I think this might be the last stream for this release. I would really like to push it now. It's the number of like serious issues people are reporting is getting smaller. Now it's kind of like, hey, you know, things that were always like the dialogue thing. That had nothing to do with this release, right? I think it was because of the Kickstarter message that made the dialogues bigger, that it was more visible. In the metadata, it does not make sense to distinguish. Well, it's just, it's what there is, right? Like I said, 99% of the time, people would use something like this on a puzzle. They're giving a solution. So the other three messages will never happen, right? But I just wanted to, because I hadn't like implemented a high-level feature, I wanted to implement the internal mechanics for it. So that makes sense, right? So I might not even document these two. I might only document these and say, hey, this only works if you're including a solution, that kind of thing. I don't know. All right. In fact, my MSG unknown would probably not be included as that, because, you know, it's basically like an error message more or less. So there shouldn't be errors. Alt triggers edit mode. Alt. It really bugs me that Alt triggers edit mode. Oh, wait. Not here. Alt. But it really bugs me that Alt triggers edit mode. I very often do to Alt tab. When I Alt tab back, it's stuck in edit mode. Ah. Yeah, to be honest, I wanted to add a button so I wouldn't have to do the long press. We're running out of buttons, right? Keyboard only has 102 buttons, and we're using all of them already 3 times over, so... And I didn't want to put buttons on screen at the time, and I didn't want to add more buttons in the settings or whatever. I agree, it's a bad choice. I'm gonna... That's something I can do sometime next week. View, color, edit, trigger, hotkey. Because I'd like something where you didn't have to go into the settings. Because I imagine you might go back and forth between placing a color and editing it a little bit quite often. And the long press is almost too long, but somebody already complained that it's too short. That it happens accidentally for them quite often, you know? And right now, I can't even get out of the edit mode. Yeah. Like, Escape should let you get out of the edit mode or something, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, Alt-Tab works, so it should just be able to get out of the edit mode again, right? It's just that the problem is when you're Alt-Tabbing, I don't think you ever get a key up event. So it's not actually trivial. I think I could, maybe there's a blur event. All right. I should be ending the stream, but let's see if I can check that quickly. So, enter edit mode, handle color pick here, handle pad button up, enter edit mode, enter edit handle key down, alt left, event code alt left, enter edit mode. So handle key down gets triggered here. Handle key down. So this gets handled from higher up. Handle blur. I don't think this will be handled from higher up. I might have to do it myself. I think handle key down is handled by the API. That's what I mean. I don't finish my sentences. Handle key down. So that gets handled by here. Handle tool event forwarding. And that's triggered from handle key down. Let me see. G4347. Handle tool event forwarding. Handle key down. Handle tool event forwarding. Find blur. Handle blur. Handle blur. If I do this, blur. All right. So if I do this and tab. All right. So maybe if I do that and then say handle blur. So we go here, we tab back. Didn't trigger this. Didn't trigger this. Handle tool event forwarding. Oh, is it because we had a tool change here? Handle blur. So handle blur hits, but this doesn't seem to hit. Handle tool event forwarding. If handle tool event forwarding. Does handle tool event forwarding happen? Handle tool event forwarding blur. Handle event name. Oh, I think I think it needs to be like this. Don't ask why. Alt, tab, boom. We got a handle blur. And now in handle blur, toggle edit mode. Exit edit mode. So if we do an exit edit mode on blur, is that gonna do the trick? What do you think, Mark? So we're here, Alt tab, and we go back. And it's no longer in edit mode. I think that might be a good sort of short fix. I wouldn't call it a. I mean, it might solve your particular problem. It's not a long-term solution, obviously. But especially since Alt Tab is probably one of the most common interactions. So this might tide you over until I have a better improvement. I think I'm okay with that. I think I'm gonna patch that in. And we get a little extra improvement on the API. We're forwarding blur event as well now. And we should add focus and whatever, but I don't want to do that all right now. Cancel color edit mode on window blur. And I think it makes sense to leave the edit mode in that case. You can always get back in and all that. And it's not the primary function of the app, so you know I'm less concerned about maintaining that state for usability and all that. 236.3. My God, how many revisions did we do today? All right, let's ship it. So let's run an update on the puzzles as well. Update puzzles. Now that we fixed that script, did I fix that during the stream? I don't remember actually. I fixed it earlier today, probably before the stream actually. All right. We've done exit color edit mode on window blur. All right. Going to deploy that, and I think I need to deploy reduction here. All right, I think that's it for now. So in the meantime, thank you very much, guys, for sticking around. This is going to be quite a big release, and after this, the big work of updating the mobile apps is gonna start. It's gonna be a doozy. It's gonna be a lot of work, so it's gonna take a while. And I'll see how much of that I can stream, because some of that might have to. And I'll probably start with doing like the Steam version first, or the Android version, something that I can do without the Mac laptop. Probably the Steam version first, actually. And I still haven't decided because the app updates consist of kind of 2 or 3 major parts. So it's so we're gonna SudokuPad app update, the big SudokuPad app update, and part 1, step 1, update core engine, step 2, implement file backup of data. Now this is critical because without this, people will lose their data next time I update. They will for sure lose this update on iOS, right? And if I don't put this in, this update will wipe their data, and then the next one will wipe their data again. So ideally I have both of these in, but this is quite tricky to make it work cross device. So it might be something where I focused to get it to work on iOS only first. So I might do this, update on Android and Steam, but not on iOS, and then implement this for iOS, and only then update on iOS. And then only then we're gonna add app-only features, which is related to the listing, like folders, cloud saves, cloud sync, and so on and so forth. But I'm gonna, once this release is out, I'm gonna spend some more time thinking about this in more detail and so on. And beta needs to get deployed. And I think we've done these deploys, yes. All right, that's it for today. Ooh, what's running here? I forgot. App menu script. Is this... What was running here? Production. Okay, that's fine. I was just testing something. All right. Thank you very much, guys. As per usual, I'm always appreciating any new supporters on Patreon. That's patreon.com/SvenCodes, where I'm 1 away from 100 supporters, which is really awesome. Thank you very much. And, you know, subs and all that stuff. In the meantime, take care, happy puzzling, etc., etc. It's nice to have you guys along. Makes it easier to get stuff done. Take care.